coming up. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast. It's the Europa League quarterfinal first legs. 8 teams remain, and only one can lift the trophy. We've got all the breakdowns for your best bets and predictions, so stick around, baby. Here we go.
Martial, Herrera, Ibrahimovic! Oh my God, an insane goal! I'll just say the most insane goal I have ever seen on a football pitch. Balotelli, Aguero!
Well, Jordan, it's our first time dipping into the Europa League this season. It usually takes place on Thursdays. We've got 3 games on Thursday. There is one on Wednesday, and we'll get into all of them. Jordan, I see you shaking your head. You don't like the Wednesday game.
No, Dev, it interferes with my Rain Man sensibilities. Europa League is on Thursdays. Champions League is Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't like a Europa League game on a Wednesday. No good. I could do the early kickoff. We can do that. But no. So that game, spoiler alert, no bet for me on that game. Can't do it. It messes with the juju. Europa League Thursdays. I've got bets for the Thursday games.
This is a great peek behind the curtain into your mental state.
Yeah, well, we're going to see another one, I think, when we pull up a card here, one of my graphics. But, Dev, I do want to say just the Europa League was once, at the dawn of our podcast, the Europa League was our favorite competition because we just printed money on overs. First leg, second leg, didn't matter. We were just cashing overs, cashing goals. Both teams score, yes.
Everywhere.
Over 3, fine. Doesn't matter. First half, over 1.5, no problem. It was so fun. It was just goal city. The Golasso show needed Europa League. Like, that's what delivered.
I think that's how it was born, that show. They were like, oh, let's count how many goals there's going to be across all these things. And they would put ridiculously high numbers.
And now it's petered off a little bit. I have to say, I have not been as interested in the Europa League the last couple of seasons. That's why we've pushed it sort of to where we're like, all right, we'll start covering it at the quarterfinals, just 4 games, and then we'll cover it the rest of the way through. But hopefully it comes back to where it was. I do like the fact that Unai Emery is still involved in the Europa League. This man knows how to win a Europa League. So
he loves the Europa League. But Jordan, I don't think it ever will get back to that because you used to have the drop down from the Champions League, right? You have all those third place teams drop in. So you had really good teams suddenly in the Europa League. And now
excellent point.
There's no Champions League drop down. So it's kind of, the competition's just not as great. I mean, look, I think there's some great teams left, and it's going to be fun to break these down and to watch them. But it's not, you're not seeing the Juventuses and the Arsenals, Barcelonas who've won this competition before.
It's just different. It's different.
That is true. It is different.
On the one hand, it's nice to be able to see teams of a smaller stature lift a trophy. When you did have the drop down, it was kind of unfair sometimes, not always, but when Manchester United kind of fucked around and ended up dropping down to the Europa League, and they're all right, well, they're going to the final. It's like,
yeah.
So, yeah, nice for these teams. Who we got left? We got Braga, Betis, Bologna.
Well, I'll tell you right now, George, because I'm going to tell you the futures. And even though you told me not to do this, I'm doing it. These are the futures to outright win the tourney here. And it's Aston Villa, odds on here, plus 175. FC Porto, plus 400. Real Betis, plus 500. Celta de Vigo, plus 900. Bologna, 10-1. And Nottingham Forest, 10-1. Freiburg, 14-1. Braga, 20-1. And let's just dive into it, Jordan. It kicks off on Wednesday for some reason, and it is the longest odds Braga hosting Real Betis. Braga from Portugal are half a goal underdogs in this one, and the total is set at 2.5. We got a home dog here, Jordan. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, Dev, as I said, I'm not going to bet this game. I don't like that it's on a Wednesday, but there's a little more to it than that. Honestly, I have not followed the Portuguese, what is it, Liga NOS in Portugal. Have not followed that at all.
I think it's the Primeira Liga.
possibly. So
The Premier
there's
League, but in Portuguese.
yeah, but there's nos in it somewhere. NOS. So Betis, they've been reliable for the most part until we put 2 units on them over the weekend, and we had over 2.5 in Betis Espanyol, ended 0-0. Not a
Good
single goal when we took the over there. That was
Well
great.
done. That was great by us. Yeah.
But yeah, look, the data is not great on this either. You know, sometimes when you're not as familiar, the data tells its own story. Couldn't really get that here. There's conflicting data for both teams, different competitions. Their data is different. So, yep, hard pass for me here. And I think for you too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm passing, but I just want to point out that this line has moved quite a bit. It's a pick this afternoon. I think you made this card. I want to say
This was
Sunday
last night. So this was, Sunday night at close to midnight.
Yeah, and we're now recording this is Monday at about 8 p.m. Pacific time.
So almost 24 hours. Yeah.
So it's moved a whole half. People are pounding Braga as the home dogs here, which I would have done as well if I saw that half a goal price.
So it's a pick now?
It's a pick now. So that's
Wow.
a pretty wide move.
Yeah.
Maybe they watched the Betis play on the weekend and they said, "Oh, this team sucks. They can't
Did
score
something
anything."
happen? I'll look it up while you're talking about it.
Yeah, so I mean, and then the other way to look at this would maybe be goals, but this competition is probably going to tighten up. We talked a little bit on the Champions League show how those games in the last season at this stage all went over in the first leg, at least over 2.5. We did not see that in the Europa League last season, the final 16. I think 3 of the 4 went under 2.5 goals in their first legs. So the competition will tighten up, and you just don't have the same goal scoring talent that you do in the Champions League. So it's just harder to come by. So I thought about that over 2.5. We have seen over 2.5 goals in 8 of the last 10 Braga matches across all competitions. But at the end of the day, why is it on a Wednesday? I'm staying off it.
Yeah, that's fair enough, Dev. The only news I can glean at this time in regards to Real Betis is that Anthony's really struggling. There are several articles about how he's been dog shit lately and his World Cup hopes are fading. He's probably not going to get selected for Selecção. And yeah, Betis have just been kind of bad. I don't know. Maybe there's more to it, but a half a goal is a massive line move.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're still favored to advance here, minus 225 to advance. Braga plus 162, and we saw Braga are the longest odds to win this thing. So, maybe I'll keep half an eyeball on it Wednesday morning. But we got better
little live
matches.
Bet. Yeah,
little live bet, not bad idea. Jordan, let's move on to the Thursday games, the proper Thursday, yeah? And it starts with Bologna hosting Aston Villa, the favorites of this competition. Bologna in this one are quarter of a goal underdogs at home, and the total is set at 2.5. Both teams to score, yes, minus 125. That was maybe appealing to me. I forget. That is what I took. No, I didn't take anything here, Jord. Spoiler alert.
Too many
to
plays,
advance.
too many games.
Too many games. To advance here, Bologna plus 225. Aston Villa minus 300. We know what English teams do in these competitions, Jord, but Bologna have been quite good of recent seasons. So what do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, it's interesting, Dev, right? Because Aston Villa minus 300 to advance from this, but only quarter goal favorites here on the road. So the market saying that whatever happens here, Villa are going to house Bologna when we get to Villa Park. I'm not so sure, honestly. Bologna and Vincenzo Italiano, our boy, Vinny Italian, very experienced in this competition. And Italiano himself, I believe, has been to, that's in the Conference League. He's been to 2 Conference League finals, won none of them. But he's also in the Europa League gotten at least to the semifinals, maybe the finals with Fiorentina. I'm not quite sure, so don't quote me there. But experienced in Europe. But someone who's even more experienced in Europe, I mentioned him at the top of the show, Dev. Unai Emery, Aston Villa's coach. Perennial Europa League winner with Sevilla, also won it with Villarreal. Is he going to win it again with Aston Villa? I think there's every chance. They're the favorites to win this thing. We talked about it. We don't have the Champions League teams dropping down anymore, so Villa should win this in terms of squad depth, wages, transfer fees, all that. Best league in the world, yada, yada, yada. They should be winning this, especially with a tactician who knows how to win this thing. So I get the minus 300 there, but it's interesting that the market's still like, but hang on, Bologna are a problem at home here. It's close to a pick 'em. We're gonna give Villa the respect of being favored here, but not by a ton. And because of that, Dev, because we've got two tacticians here that know how to play tournament soccer, I'm gonna go under. I thought we're talking about line movement. I thought this would be lined at 2.25.
Same.
And this has not moved. The total hasn't moved since this card was made. And to see it at 2.5, I said I got to go under here. I mean, we know what Unai Emery's going to do here. He wants to win this at Villa Park. He's going to come in here. It's going to be low event. And by the way, Bologna is going to do the same thing. Italiano, they don't want to give anything away. It's the name of the game for these tacticians is stay in the tie. Stay in the tie as long as you can. Even if that's till extra time in the second leg, give yourself every chance of making it more of a lottery to try and make the teams more even than they are in the wage bill and on paper. So you got to go under in that case. It's a first leg as well. Even in the Europa League, we talked about how many goals we used to see in this competition. Even so, if we saw this back then, I'd still probably go under here in a first leg with these two guys at the helm and the way these teams play. Not to mention, neither team is lighting the world on fire in the league either. Villa struggling for goals in general. Give me the under here, Dev. Under 2.5, minus 121. Great price. I think I actually got it at a better price. Nope, minus 121.
Yeah, Jordan, you can see it's juiced toward that under. So maybe as we get closer to kickoff, it will drop down to the 2.25. We did see these two teams meet early in the competition in the league phase. It was a 1-0 Aston Villa win at Villa Park. I'm with you. I see more of the same here. I think under 2.5 is not a bad shout. I stayed off it because I don't know. Don't like it. Just feel weird about it.
Didn't like it.
Just didn't like it. And that's good enough reason sometimes, Jordan.
Yeah.
But look, we've got two more matches we're going to dive into right after this. And the first one is FC Porto hosting Nottingham Forest. This one sees Porto as home favorites here of 1/4 of a goal. The total set at that 2.25, a little bit lower here. Both teams to score yes and no are both minus 110 on either side. Jordan, this could be a great match, right? I mean, Porto, top of the Portuguese Dos Primera, whatever we're calling that, and Nottingham Forest fighting relegation in the Prem, but did pick up a big win against Tottenham in their last time out. And to advance, Jordan, Porto favorites here, minus 125, Nottingham Forest minus 106. This is the closest tie in terms of the future winnings market. So what do you think about this one, Jordan?
Dev, I got distracted because I looked up what this is. So according to Wikipedia, in 2015, the league was named Liga NOS until the 2020-2021 season. From 2021 to 2023, it was known as Liga Portugal Betwin or B-Win. Since 2023, it's called Liga Portugal. That was all my preview would give. It's called Liga. Since 2023 and currently, it is called Liga Portugal BetClick. BetClick.
You know, they've just
Hell
been
yeah.
far advanced in the betting over there in Europe.
Did you know, by the way, this is kind of a weird time to bring this up. Well, actually, maybe not. Nottingham Forest are in the Premier League. Next season in the Premier League, you will no longer be allowed to have betting sponsors on your front jersey sponsor. You can still have one on the sleeve. So I'm not sure what that does, but my own West Ham United can no longer have Betway on there. So interesting. But
I'm sure it's a tragedy for everyone involved.
Yeah, right. So look, yeah, this one, Dev, as we said with Braga, I have not followed Liga Portugal BetClick closely this season. Obviously, I understand that Porto are one of the perennial good teams over there in Portugal. We've had a lot of fun betting Porto matches in seasons past. But this was not a season where I, for one, tracked them at all. We've got enough going on in the leagues we do cover. That said, I dove into the numbers a bit, and one trend or pattern that I'm seeing with Nottingham Forest under Vitor Pereira, the Pereira era, they're taking shots with great abandon, Dev. Just peppering shots, whether they're dogs, whether they're favorites, doesn't seem to matter. The only time they haven't won the shot count in the last couple of, we'll call it 6 matches in all competitions, was away to Man City, where they gave a good account of themselves. They just didn't win the shot count. Otherwise, they're winning the shot count, and I saw them to have the most shots in this game at plus 150. I think that's
Just
worth
more
a bet.
shots than Porto. Okay.
Right, to have more shots in the game than Porto. And
Is
that's
that an
coming in at
Asian
plus
handicap?
150.
What if they tie?
It's a loss if it's a tie, yeah.
Okay.
So they have to have one more shot than Porto. And Porto's shot data is kind of all over the place. This is really a bet on Forest. However, in the last round, who did... Porto lost the shot count in each of the 2 legs they played in the last round. I can't... Who did they play? Stuttgart. Thank you. That's not the be-all, end-all, obviously, but it was another little feather in the cap for the case I was trying to make. So, I don't know. It's mostly a Forest data play here. And I think under Pereira, I mean, Porto at home here will probably be a little more front foot, but I still could see Forest having more of the ball. And even if they don't, even if it is a counterattack kind of vibe, Forest are set up to play that game too. I think they win the shot count, plus 150. Let's try it.
Well, they lost the shot count when these teams met earlier in the league phase, sure, but maybe that bodes well for you. They're due.
That wasn't the Pereira era, though.
That is true. That is a great point. Nottingham Forest did win that match 2-0 against Porto. And let me tell you something. It's hard to beat a team multiple times in a season. I'm going with Porto on the money line here, Jordan. This is the second favorite team in the competition to win it. They are favorites in this game of a quarter of a goal. You could play it there, but at plus, I actually got this at plus 110, says plus 105 on the screen. So maybe there is that Forest money coming in. I could totally see this moving to a pick before kickoff, so maybe we'll get an even better price on Porto there on the money line. But Jord, Porto have not given up a single goal. No, that's not true. They have not lost a single game at home this season across all competitions. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. They do have 3 draws, so that would lose this bet, but no losses at home. They do their best work there. This is going to be a grinding game. There's going to be maybe 1 goal in it. Forest won that first meeting with 2 penalty kicks. So hopefully Porto knows what to expect a little bit more here. It wasn't the Pereira era, but I just think it's hard to beat a team that many times, particularly at home. Forest, they didn't play last weekend, so they've had a lot of time off here. Does that help them or hinder them? Does it help them get rested, or do they get a little bit out of form? They got to go to the cauldron that is going to be Porto. That's where I'm going, Jordan. Porto on the money line here at plus 110.
Well, Dev, I will say there's every chance that we can both cash on this because Porto, in the last round anyway, of this competition against Stuttgart, as we mentioned, in the leg at Stuttgart, they tied the shot count. It was 14-14. And in the leg at Porto, they were totally outshot by Stuttgart 20-10. But they advanced, baby. They won the match 2-0, despite having 10 shots fewer. So maybe Forest can shoot all over the place and still lose the game. I think that's totally possible.
Right on, Jordan. Well, we got one more matchup, and it's one of our favorites, Freiburg, hosting Celta de Vigo. This one sees Freiburg as home, favorites of a quarter of a goal, and the total set at, once again, a low 2.25. Jordan, and let's see the 2 advance numbers here. Freiburg plus 120 to get out of the tie. Celta Vigo favorites here minus 163. So what do you think about this matchup? Traveling over to Freiburg.
Well, Dev, this is an interesting one. If we look at the card here, we look at the numbers, right? Lined at that low total, lined at a 2.25. And yet, both teams to score yes is the favorite at minus 125. So the market's kind of conflicted here. They're saying we're going to get at least 2 goals, but does it just end? Or they're not saying we're definitely going to get 2 goals, but we're leaning that way, that each team's going to find the net here more than likely. So that gets us to 1-1. But we're only giving you a quarter more to decide between. Interesting stuff here. So for me, knowing the way these teams play in their leagues, and certainly for Celta Vigo in this competition, the BTTS Kings, I'm just going to bet that. I'm going to take the favorite there in that market because I'm not sure where to go with this on the total. Is there a chance it's literally just 1-1, correct score? Bet that. Great price. Maybe. Is there a chance Celta don't score on the road here, lose this 1-0, take it back to Spain, try and get something done there? Maybe, but just the way that Celta play, I don't see them not trying to get a goal here, even though away goals aren't weighted or anything. It's just what happens with Celta. They are the BTTS Kings of La Liga, and more often than not, they're the BTTS Kings in the Europa League. I appreciate there's conflicting data here with Freiburg, at least in this competition. But generally, overall, in all competitions, Freiburg pretty reliable for BTTS. They are in the Bundesliga, which is the first highest success rate for BTTS in terms of leagues. So, give me both teams to score here, minus 125.
Throw 2 units on it, baby, because I'm
Look
on the
out.
same, Jord.
Oh, and
Both
I
teams score,
misspoke,
yes.
Dev. We actually got it at a better price, minus 115. Sorry, this card, again, 24 hours old, found a better price, minus 115 for BTTS, 2 units.
Shop around, people. Shop around, because you can get on these straight bets, you can sometimes get a much better price. And that 10 cents difference that we got this at could be the difference between profit and loss. But yeah, Jordan, you pointed out, Celta Vigo, 6 of the last 7 matches across all competitions have seen both teams scoring. If you watched Freiburg play Bayern Munich over the weekend, the game was 0-0 at halftime, and it ended 3-2 to Bayern Munich. So goals coming at both ends. And Freiburg, they created a lot of chances in that match. So I think there could be goals in this one. You can see that the total is juiced. It is over 2.25, but it is juiced to that over. So I think this might move out to 2.5 by the time we see kickoff, at which point the both teams to score will probably get worse. So that's where I'm happy to just have 2 goals in the match for a cash, 1-1. And anything beyond that is all gravy.
It's all gravy, baby.
It's all gravy, baby. Well, that's going to do it for us, Jord. Any last words? No. Before we get out of here, there's something we got to do.
Yeah, Dev, you tried to skip out of here before paying the bookie. Listen,
how dare I?
It's one thing to talk about these matches, and it's quite another to put our money where our mouths are and pay the bookie.
Chuck, I'm going to tell you something. You have that fucking 200 in my hands tomorrow. If you ain't got the 200 in my fucking hands tomorrow, I'll break every fucking bone in your body.
Go ahead and throw up the official plays on the screen for those watching, and we'll read them out for the podcast listeners. It's a short one, Jord. Only 4 matches. I've only got 2 plays. Porto on the money line, plus 110. Freiburg, Celta Vigo, both teams to score yes at minus 115.
Yes, indeed, Dev. Looking really barren over there on your card. I've only got one more play, though. I've got Bologna and Aston Villa to go under 2.5. I played it on the Asian total instead of the straight market for a slightly better price at minus 121. Nottingham Forest to have the most shots in their trip to Porto, plus 150. And same play as Dev for Freiburg, Celta Vigo, BTTS, yes, at minus 115.
Right on, Jord. Well, that's going to do it for us. I will say my card was light this time, but second legs, that's when I feel like I'm going to attack. I want to see these play out one time. We'll get some game state differential, and you can jump on those totals. But Jord, any last words for the people?
Just my usual spiel, Dev. If you've been with us for a while, don't matter. You can still hit a like on the video, follow on the social platforms. And if you're new, absolutely like the video, follow us on our social medias, and subscribe to the channel. And always remember to bet responsibly. Manage your bankroll because we got a ton of Sagar coming at you for the next 8 weeks or so. It's going to be insane. And then we've got a World Cup. So you got to save some money for that. But hopefully we make some money in the interim and the bankroll increases before we get there. So let's make some money.
Let's make some money, baby.
Martial.